This week's episode is brought to you by water. If it's 95% of us...
That's cucumbers, we're 70%.
And vital for human survival, why is it so darn expensive?
So my name's James, and I'm here with Evan and Bridget. And I hear you asking, what the hell am I listening to? Well, we've kind of lost the plot. But the point of this is to tell you guys about news that's not talked about as much, whether it's due to racism or other things. So yeah, sit back and enjoy us ramble on about news we have no qualifications to talk about.
This week on the show, we'll be covering chocolate floods, unusual elections, and something in Africa that isn't authoritarian famine gangs.
To start off with, we're going to be saying some of the big news headlines we plan on completely ignoring this week. So if you're here for any of this...
We
sorry.
apologise.
Yeah, oops.
So the first big news point from this week is that Michael Cohen, US Big Boy's former lawyer, was now sentenced to 3 years in prison.
Are we surprised? No.
Not particularly, no. Our second point today is that South Korea has sent a train to the north to explore a potential rail reconnection.
I'm interested to see how that develops, honestly.
You sounded so professional just then.
I know, but I truly am, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting, I suppose.
Yeah.
And...
Do you suppose?
Yeah.
And Bohemian Rhapsody, the third point is Bohemian Rhapsody has become the highest grossing music biopic of all time, which is pretty awesome.
You really can't pronounce things today.
And you had... Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it.
It was very enjoyable.
I still need to see it.
Yeah, go
Hence
see
my
it.
education
No,
movies.
you'll love it. Literally, my mum cried the entire time. So, and you know what my mum's like.
Funny story. One of my relatives is really drunk, and she and she just kept saying to me, "You've got to see Bohemian Rhapsody. It's so good." Which is so random, but that just made me
Fair enough.
Yeah,
It's fair enough. Go see it with someone with great audio. I went to see it in gold class. It's not good enough.
Oh,
it's just the
funny
audio
story.
is... Ooh.
I went to see it
Cool.
in gold class. It was an 11:40 session because Mum and I had both been working that day. And it didn't start till 12 o'clock because the poor kids working the projector couldn't figure out how to start.
Oh no!
It was
Well,
really funny.
Did
all
they
round.
get trained in that?
I would think
Anyway.
so. All round good news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good news. So, yeah, basically what we're telling you is to go and watch Bohemian Rhapsody.
Pretty much. This is
Yeah.
just, we're not sponsored, but
And
Yeah.
we're not going to talk about it anymore. So, goodbye.
Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
yes.
For our first bit of news you didn't hear today, a chocolate factory spilled more than 30 metres of melted chocolate all over a street. The factory in Germany blamed a spilled tank for the gooey mess, which quickly hardened.
Okay, so the important thing here is how they cleaned it up. But more importantly, would you?
Honestly, no, I'd probably eat it, but no, they used boiling water and even blowtorches to empty the street.
What a job. Can I just say?
I think it breaches the 5-second rule a little bit. But
just a little
the
bit.
top layer of chocolate would be completely
That would
fine.
be fine. 30 metres, I mean.
Yeah, that's a lot of chocolate.
That's more than
I
100
know.
feet.
Legit. I would have just eaten that.
Do we have any estimates of how much this chocolate spill costed?
Probably several $100s, if not several thousand.
Oh, God.
Cadbury can do without.
Yeah.
Is Cadbury German?
I have no idea.
I don't.
well.
It's not.
It's not.
I'm quite sure it's
Okay,
not.
we're trusting you wholeheartedly.
Okay, please don't trust me, but anyway.
Well, this is the stuff you need to hear just to think life, it could be worse, you know?
Yeah, you could be the factory owner having to explain to your employees why you've spilt so much in chocolate all over a street.
And it also makes you think life could be so much better just being one of those workers out there cleaning up spilt chocolate for hours on end.
Yeah, I don't see that as way I want to spend my Sunday.
No?
No.
I would happily do that. James. you need to-
Literally, that's some, type of Wonderland stuff.
So,
That's
you're
like
outvoted.
a road covered, paved in chocolate, Yes. Yes, please. Give that
See,
to
I'm
me.
okay with being outvoted because I'll just go home and read a book instead.
With your own chocolate.
Because you have a sad life.
I know I do. It's okay.
Sad life is a fun life.
It is.
Damn straight.
Great. Well, that was the chocolate spill.
Moving on.
Yes, moving
What have we got
on.
next?
So, the next topic we have is literally about the First Lady of the US completely offending an entire continent. So,
That's sort of impressive.
I mean, it's not the first time that has happened, but yeah, it's pretty impressive. So, what happened was Melania Trump went on an African tour. How benevolent of her. And she went
Very
to
worldly.
Yeah, very worldly, very like cultured.
So Angelina Jolie-esque.
Oh, yes, definitely. So she went on a 5-day tour of Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, and Egypt to promote children's welfare, which is great, cool.
Good for
And
her.
the main thing that got people stirred up was her fashion choices. Guess what she wore? She wore a white pith helmet.
That's not okay.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a little in poor taste.
It's so easy to dress in a way that doesn't offend an entire continent.
Yep.
It is, literally. I was like, I'm sure she would have had some other officials with her, and I'm sure someone there would have had the knowledge to be like, hey, that's a symbol of colonial oppression, maybe not the best idea.
Yeah.
But no, she wore it anyway, and she wore it on a safari. How many cliches can you get? But yeah.
And I've heard of the next one though. The next one puts that to shame.
Yeah, so she wore an outfit reminiscent of, please read that name. I actually don't know how to read it.
I've only watched the movie like 50
How do you
million
read that
times.
name?
Which one?
Is it
Renee Balloch.
Renee Balloch, an archaeologist from the Raiders of the Lost Ark who sided with the Nazis.
Okay. I'm gonna give it's a fictional Nazi.
Yes, okay,
That
it's
is
a fictional Nazi.
That is the best thing I can say about this, is that it looks like a fictional Nazi. As pointed out. Was that pointed out by Rob Delaney?
Yes, yeah. So further explanation from Rob Delaney, a tweet. It's funny that she's cosplaying as a Nazi who literally gets melted by God at the end of a good movie. And I agree with him. Like, that's pretty
It is
funny.
a good movie.
So, well, I haven't seen it yet, so I'm just quoting it.
That
without-
is the real crime here.
Yeah, yeah. I'm aware. Well, you're gonna have a lot of those crimes, honestly, because I watched nothing.
Yeah. We will educate you, which is a sentence that's never been used in bad connotations.
Totally.
Yeah, the only bit of leeway I can give her there that she might not be cultured enough to know what Raiders of the Lost Ark is.
Surely there's a whole team though,
Oh yeah, I
Cultivating
get
that.
Yeah, true. This is true.
and no one thought that a white pith hat and a Nazi costume.
Oh no, the white pith hat is just a condemnation.
It's
already.
dumb. Like the thing is though, this happens so often. You get so many of these officials coming to Africa being like, "Oh,
This
I'm
is
doing
part of
great.
culture."
This
Yeah.
is great. I'm being so culturally appropriate."
I
And then
saw
they're
this
just
in one of those books.
Exactly, one of those books.
One of those books, but they don't realize that book was about a whole lot of murder.
Like,
Just a bunch of bad
Just
stuff.
a stuff.
what gets me is it would have been so easy to avoid this controversy.
Yes.
So
James,
easy.
honey, you're forgetting the thing that people are dumb.
Well, yeah. And honestly, like like Donald Trump actually tweeted, he's very, very happy with it, of course. Our country's great First Lady, Melania is doing really well in Africa. The people love her and she loves them. It's a beautiful thing to see. Oh, how magical.
You're really bad at pronouncing names.
Yeah.
Shut up! I'm trying my best.
I also
Evan.
love how worked up he gets over Donald Trump's tweets.
He really
it's
does.
hilarious.
I mean, it's just funny. It's just...
It is.
He's just trying.
It is
He's-
a little
You're
bit
my small
mind-blowing.
angry thing. I
Thank
still
you.
love you.
Thank you. Yeah, well, that's pretty much all I have to say on that. That's my daily rant for the day.
There you go.
Tune in next week when James drags someone else.
Snatches the
About
weave
fashion.
of someone else.
And now, following that, is the important reoccurring subject. Evan isn't hip enough to know what snatching the weave means.
Do you not know what snatching the weave
What's
means?
snatching
Okay,
the weave?
snatching the weave pretty much means like, so you know what a weave is.
The wig.
Is it like a
Wig, it's a wig. So pretty much someone does something that either is so controversial or is so good that your weave has like flew to another dimension.
Yeah.
Like it's gone.
Bye-bye.
Like your wig is shooketh.
Are you shooking your weave?
No.
Or is
No.
someone else
No.
shooking your
Someone
weave?
else's.
Someone grabs your weave off.
Someone grabs your weave because they're just doing something that's so like it's shaking you to the core so much that you're like,
shooketh.
whoop.
So when someone wears a hat reminiscent of colonialism, they have just snatched the weave.
Yeah.
They've snatched the weave.
Pretty much, when you're shooketh to the core, your weave has been snatched.
These
Yeah.
aren't sentences anymore. They're
And
not
we love you for
sentences.
that. And we
Okay.
love you for
That's
that
okay,
exact
Grandpa.
reason.
Well, we've all learnt something here
We
right
have
now.
I don't
we have
think
learned
Evan
something.
really has, but that's okay.
I will never use it, but I've learnt it. Yeah.
Amazing. This is what we do on this podcast. We educate. And that's
Mostly
our main,
Evan.
That's our main aim. We're mostly educating Evan. Yeah.
It's a rough job. And movies for you as well. There you
And
go.
movies for me.
We've
yeah.
all got our weaknesses.
We don't need to educate Bridget. She's fine.
Aw, thanks.
Up next. Okay, for our third topic today, I'm not sure if this is more or less serious than offending an entire continent, but I
Guess we'll see.
Yeah, it's a story from the last state election in Victoria, just a little one,
Oh, I love
Mostly
this one.
meaningless.
I love this one so much.
and it's about Declan Martin, a 19-year-old from, I don't know where he's from, but he
He
ran...
goes to RMIT.
Yeah, okay, you know him well, right?
I don't know him well. I know of him. My brother knows
Yeah.
him.
Well, he, during the last state election, ran as a Australian Labor Party member for the seat of Brighton, which, for backstory, has blue-leaning tendencies. Which in this
It's a very
case
safe
is,
seat.
yeah, it's a very safe seat. Never been one since its founding or something like that. To quote Declan off some interview that I'm sure he was not expecting to do, I just thought I'd stick my hand up. I wasn't expecting this. And that I'm not even on my P's, I'm on my yellow L's.
Sweet.
Most of the whole thing was just him saying that if he had won, he would have to have another member of parliament drive him along to parliament. Which is fantastic. But anyway, the more important thing here is youth politicians, I suppose.
But also, wasn't there not that big a margin between people
It
who voted
was-
for him and people who voted for Liberal?
It was the smallest margin in that seat in a long while.
Yeah.
That's
So
really cool.
He was
That's interesting.
seconds away from
People were
from
voting
winning.
for a 19-year-old as
Yeah.
19-year-old who only just started in politics as opposed to a politician.
If that doesn't say something, I don't know what does.
Got those youth voters that would otherwise not, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
had been helping out the member for Sandringham, I believe, Nick Stakos, for a
Yes,
couple of
he had.
years.
Okay.
But that's nothing compared to the other member, the Liberal member, James Newbury.
Yeah.
That's boring. Anyway,
I remember seeing his billboard.
Yeah, you
Nice.
did.
Yeah.
he's been working as a Liberal staffer and as a member. He did a whole bunch of stuff. And he has 3 law degrees. There you go.
That explains how
3
boring he
law
must be.
degrees?
Ah,
How much time do you have?
he has 3 law
Clearly
degrees
not
and a
enough that he can't
staffer.
run the country.
Well, Brighton.
Well, part of the country.
Right. Yes, but it sort of brings up... It's great to have a new young voice. What he also said was, I thought I'd give it my all and bring a fresh new face to Parliament.
Yeah,
Which is-
that's exactly
Good for
right.
him. And I really want to see him come back next year because what I've been
He
told
said he has, yeah.
by my brother and his mates, he's a really nice guy.
That's good.
So,
That's really good.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? We're not qualified at all to say this, but just from our perspective, on a member like that who is competing against someone with 3 law degrees and has spent years and years studying and training for this, going up against a new face. Do you think a new face is as important as a bachelor of law?
yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. New face, fresh ideas, new blood, etc. Like, we can't stay stuck in our ways forever, and if we don't have new ideas, which can only generally come from having new faces and new people, then how are we going to advance as a country? Which,
And-
oh my god, that sounds so professional coming from me. Which
That's
sorry,
true.
not me
You're
at
right.
all.
You're right,
In this
though.
stuff. I got a little bit of statistics here, not too much. I don't want to make it too serious in any way.
Here we go. Evan knows
But
a thing.
Evan knows a thing. In the 2013, the 43rd Parliament of Australia, there was only one member under the age of 30 in Parliament.
That's ridiculous.
And how many is... Oh, sorry, no. I've already made an error. 1%. 1%. Which isn't better.
That's
But,
not better,
yeah.
but
Which actually,
Wow.
yeah.
Brings new meaning to the term dinosaurs in the party room.
Well, it's close to 7% were 65 and over. With the average...
wait, 7%.
7% were 65 and over. With the highest bracket still being 40 to 59. Which is...
wow.
So basically middle-aged white men.
What? Okay.
What?
Do you want to
That's
see
not
this?
all. That's just...
Would you look at this? 30%. 30% were women in the 43rd Parliament, which is rubbish, but somehow more than you'd expect
Yeah.
at the moment.
That is
Yeah.
more than... Yeah.
What year are these from?
These are from 2013 Parliament.
Okay, so
They
that's
have not
5
improved
years
much,
ago.
but this is the most
Yeah.
accurate statistics I could find. So,
Fair enough.
Wow.
which I'm trying to find a metaphor for that.
Yeah.
It's like finding a garden in your backyard that you thought would be rubbish, but it's slightly less rubbish than you'd expect.
A garden in your backyard.
Okay, you go to your grandparents' backyard and you think they're not putting any work into this. It's going to be really old and
Yeah.
rubbish. You go out there and it's slightly better than you expect,
But it's still pretty crap.
but it's still pretty crap.
Yeah.
There you go.
Which is weird though, because old people love gardens and gardening.
Okay, you think of a better metaphor.
I mean...
Yeah, no, I know, I'm just like, making a point. I'm sorry, Evan, I didn't mean to wound you.
Yeah. My metaphors is all I have in life, and you've destroyed me here. No.
What about us?
What?
Yeah.
No, you're nothing to me. Nothing to me
Oh.
compared to statistics.
That's
not true.
cold.
That's not
That's
true.
clinical and cold.
Do you want to guess what his budget was? I'm bringing it way back
Yeah.
to Declan Martin.
Yeah.
What do you think his budget was for this?
Oh, like $30?
Okay, it's more than that.
Couple of snacks
It's
from
a
Bunnings.
really small amount, but it's a little bit less than that.
Couple $100?
It's $1,750.
Okay.
Okay, bless.
So it's a sizable amount of money, but it's not
No.
comparable in any way.
But I mean, good on Labour for giving him a shot in a seat like that. I mean, I guess
Well,
like it's...
nobody else wanted to go for it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and like I guess that also it's a safe seat, so very unlikely that he would have.
Yeah.
And
but-
in a safe seat like that, you often have to
Yeah.
do something different.
Yeah.
And a 19-year-old,
Well, you're
That's something different.
looking at the margin between votes, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So we'll see what happens in the next election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's a trend that continues. Younger,
Yeah, as I said, I hope
less
it comes
qualified. So we'd like to finish the episode with a couple of predictions for what we think the next week will bring, and the week after that, and the week after that, perhaps.
back. Yeah, just a disclaimer, none of us are psychics, so we don't actually know what's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Or
Say that.
qualified, or researched.
Exactly.
Or any of the above.
Yes. Yes.
Whatever word you're thinking of right now, we're not.
Yeah, exactly. So our first prediction for next week's news is that more arrests will be made within the White House.
Inevitable.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Which is just a sad sentence to say.
Yeah.
You never.
It is. You didn't look when we were looking at Barack Obama's term and when he did all of those great things, no one expected
And all
any
of the bad
that.
things.
And all of the bad things.
And all of the bad things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But he was
as
still
you do. And now for a moment of silence.
for Barack Obama.
And enough of that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, the second prediction we have for next week's news is that Christmas will happen, which means that too much food will be consumed and too much money will be spent and there'll be too many people.
Just too many people that you're meant to love and care about.
Also, I can't afford gifts for that many people.
Oh my god, I know, right?
I'm actually
Like,
already broke. I'm not
Christmas
even
shopping
kidding.
is such a nightmare
Just
sometimes.
make
Christmas-
stuff.
That's what I'm trying to do, but it also costs money to buy paper and that kind of thing.
Just give people hugs.
Yeah,
It works.
Somehow
That
or other, I
works.
don't think that
Well,
qualifies.
just be like me. Don't give people hugs for the entirety of the year, and then give them a hug as a gift, and it feels
Wow,
special.
that's so special.
Even though it's more that you're taking stuff away from them the rest of the year.
This is true.
There you go.
I just like hugs too much.
That's Evan's number one hint.
That's Evan's number one advice.
Have a very
Tick
exclusive club of people you hug.
Oh dear.
Anyway,
And on that note,
the world will not end is our final prediction. The world will not end yet.
Keyword being
Yet.
yet.
So congratulations, everyone.
we've
Congratulations.
survived.
You
The
made
world
it
has
to the end of
survived.
one of our podcasts.
Yeah, congratulations. How did you deal with us?
Yeah.
We're not that fun to be around.
We tried to put jokes in there.
Yeah.
They probably sounded a little bit forced.
Depends what you classify
already
as jokes.
analysing the podcast even before it's finished. So yeah, we'll end with that self-deprecation.
Woo!
Yeah,
Have a
self-deprecation.
good rest of your week, everybody.
Yeah.
Try and look for something that's a bit under the surface, because that's what really matters. Not. Nope, I've got no clue.
Really sentimental.
It started off being really heartwarming, and then Evan just shut down halfway through.
Yeah,
As he does. Yes.
that's me.
That's
But
him.
you don't shut down halfway through looking at a news article. Go for it. Dig deeper, and then get bored and do something easier.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going now.
On that note, have a good week, guys. See you next week.